What's up, everybody? Welcome back to World's Your Oysta. It's your host, Paula Sanders, and today is an extra special day because we are bringing on one of my biggest girl crushes, number one, but somebody that has been on my dream list for forever. This episode is also very special because it is brought to you by one of our episode sponsors, Argento Vivo. Argento Vivo is my absolute favorite jewelry brand. And today you will see me wearing the Lucia hoops and the Panthera collection. I am so excited to be working with this brand because I love them and I truly wear their jewelry every single day. If you've been watching this podcast on YouTube or checking out any of my reels, I am wearing something from their collections in every single episode. So they have so graciously offered all of our listeners 30% off when shopping from their website. So go ahead and visit argentovivo.us and use the code OYSTA30 for 30% off at checkout. That's ARGENTOVIVO.us and the code is OYSTA30. Now, let's introduce our guest because you guys, I just love this woman so much. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with a true force in the fashion industry, with none other than my friend, Ronny Kobo. Ronny is the visionary behind her globally coveted brand. She has mastered the art of blending standout prints, timeless silhouettes, and effortless versatility, making her pieces a staple in the wardrobes of A-list celebrities, powerhouse females, and me. Today, I'm wearing Ronny Kobo, obviously. But behind all the glamour, Ronny's journey is one of resilience, reinvention, and unwavering passion. She was raised in Hong Kong and has roots in Tel Aviv, and her global perspective has shaped not just her designs, but her fearless approach to business and life. From launching her first accessories line to building an empire, she has always followed her own path, and we love her for that. Today, we're going to dive into the mindset that carried her through, how she reframes failure as a portfolio rather than a setback, and what truly defines success for her at this very moment in her life. Ronny, welcome to World's Your Oysta. Well, Ronny Kobo, welcome to World's Your Oysta.
Thank you, baby.
You've come in like a lion, just as I've expected you to. And I'm honored. I'm honored to have you here. You've been on my list from the very beginning. And I've admired you from the day that I met you. You have such an incredible and infectious energy. And I know that you've been through a lot and you don't carry any of that shit with you, which is what I find to be like so amazing. And you're also just fucking cool. And everybody knows that you're fucking cool. And you are everybody's girl crush. Mine,
wow.
Number one, top.
Wow.
So I'm just so happy to have you here. And I cannot wait to tell your story because to be honest with you, it's like very rare that you get to sit with a friend and like actually get to know them. You know, like sometimes you'll be out, you'll have a couple of cocktails or whatever. So I'm excited.
You know what? It's lame that we don't have time for that because New York women, they just don't always have a lot of time, but it's like a date. We're having our date, that like a long overdue date.
I know. And lights, camera, action, because that's who we are, right?
Absolutely. So I see the beauty in you too. And I think that when women are connecting, we see a lot of that on social media lately, a lot of female connection. And I am actually disappointed in some of our females for being a little more judgmental about the authenticity of female connection, because the message is good. The message is female, let's connect and support each other. Why do we care if it's genuine or not? Because the message is a good message and it's your responsibility as an individual to make it authentic.
And we have to support each other, right? Because that's all we really have at the end of the day. And we all live in this like wildly digital world. So to be able to have in-person connection, like for me, is what keeps me going right now because I don't get fulfilled by any type of digital interaction, which is a big reason why I do this show, is because I love this energy exchange between myself and my guests. And it's what makes the world go round. I think we forget because we're so attached to these phones that we have in our hands. But you came in here and you immediately started talking about confidence, right? And for me, I think that you exude confidence. And you said to me, well, I think that you exude confidence. And it's crazy because I have been on this wild journey the last few weeks of feeling, for the first time in my life, so not confident.
Wow. I would have never known.
Well, you know, when you're struggling, I think that you try really hard to like not show the world. So you maybe overproduce and overcreate. But at the same time, like I was at home for the first time in my life, breaking the hell down. And I would like to know, like, do you ever break down? And what do you do?
Yeah, of course we break down. I break down all the time. And I think that is what gets me up again. It's like exfoliating your skin. You know, it's like you get it out, you break it, you break down, and then you just pick yourself up and go at it again.
Yeah. And I felt like I needed to have a good cry, right? It's like finally once I had the good cry and I got that out of me, I started to like dig myself out of the hole. And today I feel like myself again.
Oh, wow. I'll send you a video clip of a crying. I think that's really great. But you know what? You still have a little bit more in you.
Yeah.
I see a little bit more crying.
I do.
We can go there.
It'll probably happen tonight. It'll probably happen tonight.
It can happen now. Like
here.
We can go there together.
Yeah.
You're in safety.
Thank you.
For real.
Thank you.
So yeah, the reason I said confidence when I first saw you, and it's really interesting to see how what we reflect off of each other. I was like, wow, look at you. You always show up. That's one thing I know about you. And the one thing that stands out about you is that you always show up. You're always so friendly, so confident. You play no games.
No.
What you see is what you get. You know, I know you for a long time socially, but I started noticing your podcast and I was not surprised by your intelligence and your ability to communicate so well, but I was also impressed. And I thought, wow, I would like to be on her podcast. And I went to text you and I saw that you invited me.
Yeah, like a year ago.
I didn't even realize it. I thought, wow, I wish I'm a big believer in timing in life, but I would have been on it a year ago if I really read my messages.
Well, guess what? If you would have read a year ago, you would have been in my second bedroom in a homemade studio. So that. Timing is everything. So I want to first get into your story a little bit. How we get to Ronny Kobo, this big, beautiful global brand that you've built that so many of us women love to wear because you love women. And every time I put on your clothing, I feel sexy and I feel like the best version of myself. So how do we get here?
We get here because I do think that clothing allows us to show up a certain way. I love the feeling that we get when we put something on and it makes us feel good. It's like a high that I always come back to. I love watching it with other people because I'm a giver. So I like watching what it does to other people. And then it's just like exercise where you exercise your eye, your creativity, your ability to execute. And as I committed to that journey, I started seeing that there was a message I was delivering and a story that was resonating. And it was, I just started the journey of building a brand. I didn't go into it thinking it was going to be a global lifestyle brand, but I did know that I had a lot to say and that I love producing and making clothes. But I also love storytelling and I love being creative and I love people. And it all came together as a career. And now it's a journey of a brand and a vision that I'm really enjoying. Like I too haven't felt so good the way that you just, shared. I haven't been 100% of myself since January. There's so much going on in the world. Yeah. And, if you are not a sensitive person, it doesn't take just a sensitive person to feel what's going on in the world. So I haven't been 100% since January. And what I have had was the gratitude towards the escape of creativity and art. And I've really entered a phase in my life that's very devoted to creativity and inspiration. And I find that really healing on a personal level.
Yeah. You seem to be eternally inspired. When I go onto your page, I feel like I click through the stories and it's like, how is this woman literally finding beauty in like a row of books? Like you just find a way to capture things that like is truly in a beautiful way. So when do you find this kind of love for, it seems like architecture, design, fashion? Is this something that you grew up with? I know you had recently said something that your father made suits. So is that where the love of all of this comes from?
Well, my father made suits for himself when we were living in China. And it was interesting because he was a suit. He was a man who went to work with suits all the time, but it was when suits were really cool and really glamorous. But he was in the clothing business. He manufactured denim, which is why we grew up in Asia. So this is, I guess, in my genes.
Literally.
Literally. So I've been in production and manufacturing since I was a child. And I guess I've traveled the world. So you're asking me, why am I inspired by everything? Is I just choose to see beauty. Like I choose it because there's a lot of darkness. And I think I was given a gift to see beauty in the dark times. And believe me, I have days that I'm not always like jumping up and down and seeing the beauty in the world, but there's always a little crackle that I see through the shades sometimes, and that's the sun. And the sun is always stronger for me than the darkness.
Yeah, that's a really valuable thing to have. And as someone who like never really struggled with darkness, to like just for the first time in my life at 37 years old to like see darkness for the first time, that was great for me to hear, because I was having a really hard time seeing the light. And I too, I am a sensitive person, but I have never been allowed to cry. You know, my parents were always like, you don't cry. Like we don't do that. We move forward and we keep carrying on. And, you know, I've been away from my parents for a long time now. I'm a grown ass adult. And now I'm finally allowing myself to cry. And
you think that's an immigrant thing? Because I feel, you know, we're immigrants. We immigrated to the States. And I feel like we didn't have the time to cry because we were, you know, surviving, pulling through new language, new schools, new neighborhoods, new culture. Our families were doing the same thing. Do you think that the not being allowed to cry at home?
So I'm third generation. So I'm very Americanized. So my background is Sicilian and Puerto Rican, but my family was born here in the States. But I come from two incredibly type A overachievers. So that's where I think for me it comes from. And, you know, I was always raised in a way like you don't quit something and you also don't fail. Like there is no failure. So for me, that was never an option. And if I'll be honest with you, it's like in this season of my life where I've been doing this podcast for a while. I've also been in my career, my professional career outside of my professional dance career for about 12 years. I've been at
you're a dancer.
Yeah.
Not shocking.
Yeah, you didn't know that? I used to dance for the Knicks.
No way.
You didn't know this?
No, but I'm always seeing you on the dance floor and I'm like, she is sassy. She moves her body so well.
Yes.
I love her, like, you know, your little body and the way you move on the dance floor. It's like we always show up and meet on the dance floor.
Yes.
Which is a great way to show up as women.
And also whenever you throw a party, you always throw a dance party. So
there's no party unless there's a little bit of dancing.
But my parents were actually my dance teachers. So my parents are professional dancers. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Salsa, you know how to waltz.
So that's how they met. So they met doing ballroom dance, but then they opened up regular dance schools. So ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop. That's what I'm trained in. But they are ballroom dancers, my parents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was like,
I need to see you dancing with your family. We need a clip of a party in your house.
It's a jam session for sure. It's a jam session for sure. But it's also tough growing up as like the child of the owner of, you know, I'm sure you know too, I think your dad ran big businesses. Like it's hard to be the child of that. And to also like grow up in the dance school where everybody expects for you to be superhuman. And I have always wanted to just be normal. You know, but it's not true. If I wanted to be normal, I wouldn't be freaking sitting here right now, you know?
Well, it's funny that you say you're from a family of overachievers, because the first thing that comes to mind when I look at you is you're an overachiever. And that's why I'd like to be part of this podcast. I'd like to be one of the first people on this podcast, because I know I could pretty much bet on you. And it's just something that shines through is that you're an overachiever. So it makes sense you're in a family of overachievers and dancers. Everything is coming together. I'm getting to know Paula one-on-one when all we've had is very pleasant, superficial,
big group settings,
great exchanges of hello and
lights, cameras,
5-minute business calls. Hi, I need this. Can you help me with that? Yes, sure. Let's do it. Great. Hope you're well. Send you love. And now it's getting to know, you know, all of the things that I've seen you are, you know, making sense.
Yeah. And so when I was preparing for this, I was listening to your beautiful episode that you did with Melissa Wood. And something really struck me in that episode because you said, I've failed so many times and I don't look at failure as something that's bad. I look at it as a portfolio. And I needed to hear that day. It was about 2 weeks ago. That current moment of my life, I was feeling like a failure. I've been in the same job for 5.5 years. I haven't really learned or grown in a long time, but it's an amazing job and I love it. And it's connected me with so many people. But I feel like at this stage of my life, I should be doing bigger things, right? And then I was looking at this podcast. And I'm like, I'm having a hard time to get it grow. I hate the social media. I suck at everything. Like it's awful. And I feel like a failure. Like I feel like the first time in my life, I feel like a failure. I've been doing this thing that's like really hard. And I know that it's like, what is it? Like a 1 in a million chance for me to become the next Alex Cooper or whatever. And I was listening to that and I heard you just be so okay with failure. And I was like, why am I so anxious about failure? Like when somebody who is so successful and has had such an amazing career and has such a beautiful life, like she's just okay with it. And why am I not? And it was just so beautiful to hear you say that because that really helped me through like a weird time for me.
Well, wow. I'm very humbled, honestly, very humbled. But it's funny that you feel like you don't do much because I'm sitting here as a guest here and I'm seeing this production that you put together and the dates that you so carefully had offered, it seems like you have your shit together.
No, I have my shit together. That's the thing. Is like for me, it's actually a lot of the
That's
things.
the hardest part, by the way. The hardest part is having your shit together because I honestly think if I had my shit together from the beginning of my career, maybe I wouldn't have failed so much. But everyone has their own individual journey. And like, I remember every time I failed, it became like a joke in my family. We have siblings, we have my parents, and we always heal with making jokes. And they'd be like, well, why are you doing it again if you failed? And I was like, exactly. Exactly. That is exactly it. Because think about it. Who would you trust to give you advice? Someone who just was lucky enough to start and be super successful, or someone who had to grind, had to learn, had to fall, had to meet bad people, also meet great people. Who would you want to learn from?
Yeah, that person. I don't want to learn from the person that got everything right the first time. There's nothing.
I mean, they're lucky, but like that's not me.
No.
I everyone has their own journey, and those people are very lucky. And I'm not hating on them because they're maybe excellent and they're just innately talented. And I mean, my journey is a longer journey.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm thinking maybe yours is too. And there's always something that I feel like I hear a lot in New York City. I hear my job and what I'm capable of. So like, I feel like, your job is going to always become a job. Even if you're so successful, at the end of the day, it's going to be a job. Your mind is always your mind.
Yeah.
And I'm also at a point where I'm like, okay, I mean, not everything is making clothes and feeling fabulous. There's a lot more to me. And and that's okay. Your job and your work is a part of you, and your mind and your thoughts and your inspirations are totally another part as well. And I think we struggle to bring them together because a lot of people in New York, it's like they are their careers, and a lot of ambitious women and men, they are their careers. And it's for me finding a happy medium. It's like, where am I, Ronny, the goofy friend, sister, and when am I, Ronny, the leader, the vision, the person who has to bring positivity every single day and solutions, even on tough days. So it's just finding that and not allowing one or the other to define me.
This episode is brought to you by Stellar,
a global marketplace where you can buy and sell exclusive assets with just a few taps. I'm Ella, your new best friend, and I'm here to show you around. When you first open the app, you'll land on the Discovery feed. Up top, there's our search bar. Use it to hunt down your dream experiences. And if you need to narrow it down, our filter feature has got your back. While scrolling through the Discovery feed, if you see something you like, tap on a listing for more details. Need a hand? Just look for me, and I'll be right here to assist you. Thanks for joining us on Stellar. We can't wait to see what you discover.
So back on failure, what is one thing that failure has taught you that success never could?
Being okay with humiliation, being okay with disappointing yourself or disappointing others. And just failure has taught me the ability to get up again and to like teach my body to like refresh, reset, and not say like, I'm never going to be able to do this again. And I loved it so much. I remember the first business, I went out of business. I sat in my lawyer's desk with my head down on the table. And I said, I'm so upset. I'm a failure. And the lawyer was like smiling and he looked at me and I was not even 30. And I looked up and he said, I don't think this is such a sad story. I've seen, 60-year-old men at your place crying with their head down and having to pay mortgage and support a family and feed children. And, this is to me just one of your lessons in life. And he was right.
Yeah, no, it's true. How are you feeling about aging? Because all of a sudden I'm starting to I'm okay with it, but I'm getting worried.
I don't know. Like I'm really confused about aging because like at one point I'm sitting at a place where I was stripped of vanity at one point in my life where vanity was stripped. And that's when I really learned to appreciate myself because I think I looked quite nice when my vanity was stripped. And I think it's because at the end of the day, I think the truth is when you're aging, whether you're aging rapidly or not, I don't want to sound cliche, but inner beauty really shines through.
Yeah.
And it just helps all aging processes. Not to say that's the journey that I'm only committed to is like tapping into my inner beauty and having it solve all my aging, insecurities. But I wasn't like the prettiest girl in high school or anything. So I learned to like really appreciate the way that I look as I grew up and grew into being a woman.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy being a woman. I'm sure like there's things that bother me, like my eyes are like they could be a little, like they could like, my eyes are like, I don't know, I guess that bothers me a little bit, but like, it doesn't really bother me to age. I feel like, I'm lucky enough that you're a dancer, so you'll probably understand that. But I'm lucky enough that if I eat well and work out, my body's great. It's not 20, but it's great. And, if I take care of myself and I sleep well and I drink water, my skin's okay, and I moisturize and I hydrate a lot. The most important for me is sleep. And I think if I'm sleeping, I'm going to be aging like well.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And for me, sleep is like I really cherish that. And I do so many different things to make sure that I'm getting the sleep. But I really do feel the difference. Like when I'm only getting 6.5 hours, because like that's just what my body does. Like I look haggard. But I think also, coming off of what you came off of with your health, you had the cancer diagnosis during COVID, which was definitely a big thing. You must also feel like a certain appreciation to be able to have the ability to age, right? Like, how did that kind of change the way that you move about your life once you got over the cancer?
I'm going to get into that cancer thing in a second, but before I do, you're making me think about aging and what I feel about it. One thing I hate about aging, I don't want to mentally age. Like, I don't want to lose understanding of the younger community and generation. And I think that spending time in China with my design team a lot has really taught me a lot about the new or Gen Z generation. And, once again, looking at the beauty of it and looking and understanding. And I don't want to feel mentally aged because I feel like part of that is losing part of my creativity where I won't be able to grow. And I feel like creativity is something for me that I'd like to grow at constantly. And I feel like if I'm losing contact with different generations.
So what do you do? Do you sit on TikTok? Like,
that's unfortunate. It's like, yeah, like relevant stuff happen on social media, but they also happen in other places. And I feel like what you're seeing on social media is only one language. But when you're actually participating and like going somewhere, like I probably learn a lot more, going to an art opening.
You need to come to the Lower East Side, girl. We need to do like
I want to go
brunch
dancing with like I want to go dancing one night where everyone is under the age of 30 because I just feel like the dancing is different.
Totally. And they all bring out camcorders. Did you know that?
No.
Like the young kids, like the Gen Z, they bring out actual like physical camcorders, like what like our parents used to film us on.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's very cool.
There's a lot of really cool things that like the youth does. I mean, that's where the ideas are born, you know? So I think the only aging that really, not the only, I mean, I think the aging that only would bother me would be to lose touch with that.
Yeah, which is so important too. I mean, even for your business, right? Like you're in fashion.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and you need to be able to market to your girl, and your girl, I think, can be really any age.
But that can get confusing as a designer because I feel like you're catering to people, and then you're losing the sense of what made you you and how much you need to tap into that. You know, you can't chase the relevance, which is easy to chase. I feel like that's the one thing, is that you have to maintain your point of view, and the way to maintain your point of view is by having your point of view, and growing that point of view in your circle of what your vision is. Because it's very easy for me to like run and
chase trends or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard not to, because I'm wearing a suit right now. It happens to be a trend, but it happens to be a trend that's very comfortable to me, that I love, and that I wear every day. Whether I'm wearing it with sneakers or I wear it with heels, it's something that's right now very comfortable to me. But in a year from now, I could be in, one of my snatched dresses here. And, you never know. But yes, we're in a trendy suiting time right now. Tailoring is a trend.
Yeah.
It's hard to have your identity and chase trends. So you just need to see that something that resonates for you, that is a click for you. And, there's right now so many trends that don't click for me.
Like which ones?
That I'd like, that I don't click. I mean, I do really like that quiet luxury trend, but it's just not me, But
this is quiet luxury.
Yeah, this is quiet luxury.
Yeah.
It is. It is. But usually quiet luxury is just, it's not me on a daily basis.
Right. Like
I have a lot of leopard and cheetah, and I do like, some 90s flash, and
But like a boat neck sweater, like tied around the neck, is not working for you.
No, it doesn't. But it's also something I don't look good in. So maybe that's why it doesn't work for me. I don't know.
I think we're like glamour girls, Like I think for me, I've tried to do the whatever that's called. What is it called? The
quiet
trend?
luxury.
Quiet luxury. I've tried to wrap the sweater around my neck. It just looks like I'm like cosplaying.
I mean, listen,
she likes to be in cheetah and leather, okay, and a high.
She's
boot.
a Latina.
Yeah.
She is. She is a Latina through and through.
And if I'm going to wear loafers, they're going to be Saint Laurent. Like they're not, I'm not doing the row, and with, like, I need a little,
So I understand that. But I do also want to say is that quiet luxury is also very expensive. When you see construction that's quite simple, if it's not in like the most expensive fabrics, it's not executed well. That's why it's luxury, but quiet. Right. It's not like I can go to Zara and look, like quiet luxury on point.
Right.
I do like when Zara does novel, because it makes it easier to buy something that's just cheap and cheerful.
Right.
And, I'm very price point savvy. And our brand, we retail from $400 to $1,500. Mm-hmm. This season was $1,800. And I think that is affordable luxury is what I market our brand to be. When you don't want to spend, the $2,000 on a designer dress, but you definitely want that fit. You want that quality. Mm-hmm. Somehow we manage how to execute that.
Now, how do you honor like your creativity and the things that you love to design, and then also still produce to sell garments?
It's something very annoying that a lot of designers have to deal with. It's something called a SKU plan. Once your business gets to a certain level, you have a merchandiser who comes in and gives you a SKU plan. And I don't know a designer who has not like either taken a SKU plan and like thrown it in the garbage, or, struggled with, management and to deliver a proper SKU plan. But in our world, it's a SKU plan that you get, mini dresses, X amount sell, and you need to deliver those, or jackets and pants, and they give you a plan, and then they always like give me a little 30% to do like whatever I want. But that 30% as a business founder ends up really being 60 and 70. And it's just the struggle of showing up to work every day and saying, wait, I know we've never sold a piece of denim, but I really, really believe in denim, team. And I know it sounds like a wild Ronny Kobo idea, but let's just do this denim and it's going to be successful. And you have to have portfolio on the things that you believe in that are not in your planning. And you really have to push for them. And that's where the vision comes in, is like really trusting your vision and convincing a team of very intelligent, successful people who I am very honored to be working with, that we need to pivot. And that needs a fight. And that's the founder's fight that I talk about a lot lately. I've been noticing businesses, whether it's the restaurant business or this emerging private clubs that are all over the city that we see. But I think the ones who are there with their hands dirty and the founders fight are where the businesses, I think, are the most successful, especially at the beginning stages where I'm at right now. I'm at the beginning stages of a very successful journey that I am intending on following, and I could fail, but it's going to lead to something very successful. I know that. I feel it in me, and it's okay to not be scared there, and I'm not scared.
Yeah. Well, that's important to not be scared, right? Because I feel like I actually, in my professional life where I am on a regular 9-to-5 basis, like I am incredibly confident in that role and I feel great. But in this role, because it's new to me, I am operating out of extreme fear all the time. And I think that's, it could be dangerous. It could be really dangerous.
You are born natural. Please, you are born natural. You are a born natural journalist. And trust me, I have a master's degree in cultural anthropology from NYU. I wanted to be a journalist. I spot one with my eyes closed. You are a born journalist, storyteller.
Thank you.
So I'm not worried about you're struggling at all.
Thank you.
I don't know, at least not in a career.
No, I appreciate
So
that.
now we can go into health, because you told me two things that really have been on my mind since you told that to me 30 minutes ago. And that is, your mother had breast cancer.
Yes.
And your grandmother passed away from ovarian cancer.
Yes.
And you're not BRCA positive.
Thank God.
So there's all other kinds of genes that they don't test. And it just seems so scary, the whole cancer world. And so many people are getting cancer around us. And a lot of them are and are not BRCA positive. I was not BRCA positive myself. So another message, I was ovarian, another message that, whether it's authentic or not, is the wellness messages that we're getting now. We're getting messages culturally, females supporting females, whether it's genuine or not. That's a message everybody's getting. We like to make fun of it because, yeah, it could be fake messages, but like the message is still a really good message, right? And now we're at this wellness message where there's a huge emergence of wellness products, wellness
trends and things, even
lifestyles.
Like castor oil, have you seen all of this stuff? Like putting castor oil in your belly button and there's all sorts of crazy health things if you dive down the rabbit hole.
100%. Alternative medicine, vitamins, IV drips, NAD shots, cold plunge pools, infrared saunas. The world is moving into spa girls' nights rather than, drinking martinis, a la Sex in the City days. It's moving. The trend is moving towards wellness. And that's not a bad message, right?
No, not at all.
It's funny, the media gives us a lot of messages. And I read a book that actually motivated me to go to graduate school because I was really fascinated by media. And it was by Neil Postman. It was called Amusing Ourselves to Death. And he wrote a book about 20 some odd years ago about our culture in America and how we are amusing ourselves to death. And this was before social media.
Right. That's what I was to say.
I'm like, I always think when Neil Postman, I was one of his students in NYU. And I'm always like, he should have, I wish he was alive right now to see social media.
He would be a little scared, I think.
And also impressed. I mean, I would not know you and I would not be sitting here
That's
if it was
true.
not for social media.
This is true.
I would not learn about that castor oil. And
Castor oil facts.
I wouldn't have reached out to a community of women in my age group that were going through cancer and wouldn't be able to talk to them and have them talk to me, because, you know, having that is like having like a ghost over your head, you know, and learning to live with that ghost, learning to live with them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And it's dark, you know, and it doesn't have to be dark, and you can be in control of your body and your health and your mind. I mean, yes, we can fail at that. And I did fail at that. And, you know, we can just show up every day and say, you know what, let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of our bodies. And I just wanted to tell you that is that, you know, what you feed your brain, you're also feeding your body. And it's so easy to feed your brain negativity and toxicity. We're really hard on ourselves. But then, you know, learning to be in the moment, and in the moment, it's a wonderful gift that I'm learning to just wake up and say, you know what? Can't change all the things that are happening around me, but I can really enjoy this cup of coffee, and I can really enjoy this morning. Yeah. And just like sitting here.
Can't change the world, but I could change the way that I approach the world in a way, you know?
In the present. In the present.
It's a rough time, and I heard you speak about it too, to be on the other side, right? To be part of the family that just feels like there's absolutely nothing that you can do to help. And yeah, it was definitely a time. And I know that your time was interesting as well. And you have a family that you're so close to and love so big. And I couldn't imagine what that struggle was like for you. And, you know, to be going through that and to also be worried about your own family while you're struggling.
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's worse for the family members watching their family members being sick. And for some reason, it always happens to like the strong one,
right?
Or the glue one. It has to happen in that way. So the one that you just like were like, no, the one that you need, you know.
Well, God gives you what you can handle, right?
That's what I say. I always say, God gives you what you can handle.
Yeah.
God really gives people what they can handle.
Do you live your life now in fear that it can never come back, or are you kind of just like, c'est la vie? I'm not thinking about this shit.
Like, that's my goal. The goal is c'est la vie. But no, it's absolutely not. Like, I think about it all the time. Like something could trigger me, helping a friend, talking to them, remembering the journey. You know, it's a triggering. It's very triggering. But yeah, I'm on a journey of like doing the c'est la vie. Like one of a cancer survivor once told me something, and I really loved it. They were like, I got off that train. And I went to my stop, and the train went away.
Yeah.
Like, I always think of that, like when I'm getting a blood test, or I'm scared, or like my stomach hurts. You know, you can get triggered if your stomach hurts. My stomach hurts for more than 2 days. I'm like, oh no, you know?
No, that's what I was going to say. It's like, I would think that every time even my elbow hurt, I'd be like, I have cancer.
Yeah, but I have to say, I was like that before the cancer. I was like, I did. I was always like
a hypochondriac?
No, but I was always like
dramatic.
Yes, I was dramatic. I still am a little dramatic.
Me too.
I was more dramatic before, but yeah. I remember I went to the doctor when he started to draw. I asked him, before he could even say the word cancer, I asked him if I had cancer. So, you know.
But it's like one of those things that you almost joke about, right? Like, oh, what do I have, cancer?
Yeah, that's exactly actually how I was trying to say it. But it didn't come out like that as it spilled out of my mouth. I was trying to say, oh, doc, you're going to tell me I have cancer? Like, it's a joke. But as I was saying it, it was becoming real. Like, it was like, are you going to tell me I have cancer? Yeah. And I wasn't laughing all of a sudden. And he wasn't laughing. And, you know, it was real.
Yeah.
It was real. But there's a lot of real moments, you know, losing a family member is real. There's a lot of real moments that we go through in life and that we have to, like, one way or the other.
Yeah, and that's why life be lifing all the time lately.
Yeah, that's why we got to enjoy it, ride it to the end. And if we're not a happy place, like, just be
Feel
in the
it.
moment and feel it.
Yeah, feel it. And that's the thing that I am finally taking the time in my life to just like feel the things instead of just brushing them into a closet and not allowing myself to. Because I think there's a lot to learn from those moments when you're in the shit, right? Instead of just
I'm
sweeping it
super
away.
excited to watch where your career goes. I really am.
I'm in the process of breaking the fuck down, if I'm being honest with you.
That means you're breaking the F up.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I promise I'm not cursing anymore. That's only been
Good for you.
since this morning.
Oh, okay.
He was like, don't curse. Don't curse.
Oh,
I'm
good
like,
for you.
I am not going to curse today.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
But
This
no,
is an X-rated
it's
show.
not a
though.
bad thing. I like that you're cursing and it's making me feel more comfortable. So if by accident I slip up, I don't feel like very uncomfortable here. You
No, you're
should be
good.
cursing because then you allow us to feel like it's okay.
It's totally okay. And so the health thing, listen, I mean, when I heard that story of yours, I had no idea. I didn't know that was a part of your journey. And
Was it before you knew me or after you knew me that you knew that it was?
well, I knew somebody told me probably like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. No, you told me.
So funny.
You told me because something came up and you were like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I have a really bad memory from chemo or something like that."
Oh, wow. You have a great memory.
Yeah, and I was like,
Wow.
"Chemo," and then
Do you catch everyone who ever lied to you, huh?
oh yeah, I have a really good memory.
Wow.
Like spot on.
Love it. Great.
I don't forget.
Not
shit.
me. You can lie to me all the time because I don't.
You don't remember?
There's certain, I don't remember a lot of things. I have like
Yeah.
a terrible memory. They said it's from chemo and I hate to say it, but I definitely have a worse memory after chemo.
Yeah,
It's okay though.
that's
Like,
okay.
yeah.
Listen, it got you to where you.
Maybe
are
I'm not
at right
supposed to
now.
remember everything. Or maybe I have too much to remember. I don't know if it's like that I have too much going on or that, it's the chemo brain that makes me forget things. But yes, that's great memory.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that it's funny that I told you is because very few people talk about it. They say, they don't say it. It's usually the people who know about it is people who I've told to.
Yeah.
People don't like to talk about that. It's not a happy things to talk about.
And do you find that like you're not so open, like you don't just tell anybody because you don't want to be identified as like
No, I tell everyone because
tell
I
everybody.
want to be that first phone
Okay,
call
good.
to someone who is,
going through it?
and I have been.
Yeah.
I've been reached out to by certain women who know me through someone who knows me. And I've been their first or second phone call.
Mm.
And I take that with honor.
Yeah, of course. Of
And-
course. And how has it changed the way that you move through the world, through your relationships, through the way that you run your company, your businesses?
I'd like to say it's changed. Like, I'm not one of those people who you hear of people who had cancer and then they move to like Mexico and like they live in a commune and they eat like, I wish that I was more like that. I didn't go right back to like normal. I definitely sleep has been priority for me. I do IVs, like, I don't know. I do all kinds of IV drips. I do that once a week. So I guess that changes my lifestyle. I exercise. I don't drink. I'm low on sugar. I mean, I just try to do something. It's just like, I try to take care of myself.
Yeah, of
but there's
course.
people who I've heard who were very healthy and got cancer. And it's just, I pray, I try to do everything, but I didn't move and drastically change my life in the sense where like I live in a different place and I'm growing my own vegetables and, hopefully that'll be on the agenda one day.
You just kept it moving.
I kept it moving.
And you're building an empire now.
Yeah, I am building an empire and I kept it moving and that's okay. And sometimes I feel guilty and I have to reset and go away to the Caribbean and just be irie and eat vegetables and swim all day and, be a hippie. And then I just did that and then I reset and come back and, and that works for me and hopefully it's going to keep me healthy. I mean,
What are you dreaming about these days for you personally, but also for Ronny Kobo, the brand?
Like I said, I don't know if it's winter and it's cold and we're in an introspective phase right now with all the heaviness in the world, but I'm really diving into deep creativity and self-expression. So I feel like you're going to see that a lot in the next couple of months. I'm testing out different ways to express myself, to storytell, excellent product making and manufacturing. And I'm working on a few other little projects that I don't want to talk about yet, but they're really exciting. And that's it.
Are you like drawing, painting,
Everything.
sketching?
I'm really into like vintage collecting lately and discovering all kinds of interesting small businesses that do very creative things. I mean, just 2 days ago, I was at this warehouse in the middle of nowhere in Florida, an hour out, where they had all vintage, beautiful sculptures, not expensive. And I spent maybe like 4 hours there. It's just, I'm in a very creative phase. So in the next couple of months, I'm really diving into that creative phase, and hopefully something beautiful is going to be born from there.
Yeah, no, I know for sure that something beautiful will come out of it because we love your clothes. Your clothes are just joyful. And like I said, when I put on something that you've created, I feel like the best version of myself. I feel sexy. And I don't know if like you're thinking of that when you're making your designs, but that's what we all feel. And I speak to a lot of women all the time because everyone always asks me, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? And I say, oh, it's Ronny Kobo. And they're like, oh, she makes the best stuff. And
you
I'm
wear it well. I always say it back. It's like, you wear it well. You got the memo. It's feel good, feel sexy, feel strong, feel powerful, feel fashionable. Like just, you got the memo. You're showing up in Ronny Kobo today.
Always. Yeah.
I'm launching jewelry. I forgot to say that.
Ooh.
See, I needed my business mind on when I got to the podcast. It's the business mind is I'm launching jewelry in March. So I don't know when this is airing, if it's airing in March or not.
It'll be March.
Oh, wow. See, the stars were aligned.
We could tie it
all about
in,
timing.
baby.
Yes.
So what can we expect from the jewelry line?
Well, what am I wearing today? Oh, no, I'm not wearing my own jewelry. Should have done that. But the jewelry line is exactly, you've probably never seen me without earrings on, right?
Never.
I love costume jewelry. I've been collecting costume jewelry since I was in college. I have drawers and drawers of archives of costume jewelry, and I'm coming up with my own line of costume jewelry. And my sister, who is in jewelry, is manufacturing it for me. So a lot of that female-owned love is there. It launches in March around my birthday. My birthday's in March 30th. So it'll launch then.
So end of the month.
End of the month.
So exciting.
Very excited.
I love that you're going into a new medium.
I love it too.
It's so, has that like sparked anything new in you?
Absolutely.
Like, do you feel like your engines are revved?
Absolutely. I'm also renovating my home and just as finishing renovating my office.
Which is so beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it.
It's not ready yet.
But it's so fun.
It is fun. It's almost there, but I can't wait to invite you when it's there.
Well, I love it. Your aesthetic is like the way you pick furniture, the way you pick art, like everything is just beautiful and done with such incredible taste and like an impeccable eye.
I couldn't do it without my friends, honestly. I have impeccable friends with impeccable taste and people who are helping me who have impeccable taste. And, even I have a little text message group of friends who like vintage furniture.
Oh.
So then I text them and they text me and we find things and we send things. And, I have friends who collect costume jewelry, whether they're, have vintage stores in the South or they're, big collectors of fancy, fine jewelry. I like the highs and lows.
She loves it all. I went vintage shopping with Ronny in Milan, and that was a experience. I actually left half hour in because I was like, these girls are about to go ham. I don't want to be part of this journey. They were ripping through the racks. It was a sight to be seen. In Milan in a vintage shop could be one of my favorite monsters.
Honestly, I'm going to put it out there. Me vintage shopping. Anywhere. On TV, anywhere, all over the world, globally, is like, maybe that's something I want to do.
Honestly, no.
I think you just gave me that inspiration now, and I'm putting it in my book of things to do.
Remember, it was you, Gloria, and Jen.
Two very big personal shoppers who, one of them is one of the largest Saks Fifth Avenue personal shoppers, and the other one is a stylist at My Teresa and Net-a-Porter. And
Jen actually was on the show, one of the first people on the show.
She's so great.
She's the best.
She needs to be on camera, that one.
She's a personality. That's what you should do.
She's very authentic. She probably translates very well on media because she's very honest. And I think honesty is like the one thing that you can see on media And that's why, we have a lot of trolls because they're just trolling to like find the unauthentic, and it's not so easy to be yourself on with a camera and the lights and people, sometimes it takes a minute.
Yeah.
But, so
But
be
we
kind.
just diving right in.
Be kind, guys.
Yeah. Amen. Seriously. Okay, last question. If you can use one word for your character to be remembered by, what would it be?
Love. The word love, honestly, because at the end of the day, that's what you remember.
Mm.
Everything else just goes out. Money, everything.
It's true.
Even accomplishments, nothing. All you really, truly remember is the love. So I'd like to be remembered with love.
Yeah. And we all need to
now
love
I'm like
more.
so superstitious. I'm like, oh no, like don't even say that. I don't want that to be, I'm too superstitious.
Oh.
I want to be remembered with love and strength. How about that?
Yes.
Okay.
And you have for sure. You're such an inspiring person for all of us women. And I think that, your message is always to lead with love and to do all things with great beauty. And you are beautiful inside and out. And thank you so much for coming on here. I know you don't like to talk about yourself. So I'm happy that we were able to share a conversation together.
Thank you. Sorry for like putting it out on you every minute. It's just like, I'm genuinely more interested in others than myself.
Hey, and listen, I love talking, so don't you worry about that. I love you so much.
Me too. Thank you so much for this beautiful therapy session. Like, I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you asking such nice questions and made me feel really special and interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. See you soon. Bye.